This is the Heir of Kings podcast number 2. Today's podcast will be about the current crews in East Blue. As of now, many are on the verge of Tier 2 or entering the Grand Line. We will be talking not only about certain individuals, but crews as a whole. We have some certain pirate crews we'd like to discuss, starting with the Fishhook Pirates. Now, from what I know about this crew is that they had the longest journey by far, going from more islands than any other crew I've seen.
I think they formulated in the Goa arc.
What about Kazakh?
Kazakh, the captain of the Fishhooks, he originally started in Mirabal.
I see. But we're gonna start where the original thing came.
He sailed to Goa, and then he formulated his crew in Goa.
Ah, yes.
Members of the Fishhook Pirates include Kazakh, Mu, Shadjan.
That's
Kuno.
correct.
There's some more. There's some new ones as well.
Yeah. So
There's also.
what we're doing is we're talking about some of the pirate crews here as a whole. They're really starting to look like Shank's crew, if anything. Because before then they had no Delphi users, and the captain was not Delphi user.
The main reason why Kazakh is an interesting character is because he doesn't have Devil Fruit, but he makes up for that with the experience he has on the server as a whole, and all of the journeys he's been through with his crew.
No, not even that. He's like a classical pirate.
Oh yeah, he definitely takes on the trope.
He's a good
Blackbeard.
He's a classic pirate. So yeah, let's talk about. Yeah, we already talked about a bit about Kazakh's character as he fights with a fishhook, I believe.
A fishhook, yes.
Not like an actual hook or a fishhook.
It's more of like a hook blade.
Ah, yeah.
Kazakh's main goal is actually to find a guy named Powder Toe. He was his ex-first mate who ended up mutinying his captain, basically. I'm pretty sure Mu is the doctor because she has the fruit that allows you to heal with tears. I'm pretty
fruit, right?
The Chiu.
Yeah, the Chiu. That's what it was.
But even though she has that fruit, she is the chef, and she cooks a lot of oysters. Or leaves them raw. I'm not pretty sure on the oyster stuff. I know she eats oysters.
All right.
But the Fishhooks have been the leading crew, I would say, in feats, done more actions and have accomplished more in the amount of time that most crews haven't.
That's true.
That development has led them to pretty much dominate the East Blue News.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they also have they have 2 tier 2 people, which is pretty good. They
came from really humble beginnings, and for them to become tier 2 characters means they've really grown into that.
Yeah, they're definitely on the top spot right now of all crews. As for crews I'm talking about the Shadow Pirates. We're moving on to the Shadow Pirates now.
I'd say that their crew in general might have not as many feats as the Fishhooks, and they're not officially entirely a crew right now, but
yeah.
The development towards that has been more thorough than any other development on the server.
Who is the captain? Let's talk about the captain of the Junebug Pirates. Who is Junebug as a person?
Yeah, he's one of the only people to have Soru on the server, even as a pirate, and that's pretty special.
Mm-hmm. That's as special as it gets, to be honest.
Most people can't say they have that in the East Blue, and that's a pretty big advantage to have.
Mm-hmm.
And as Junebug develops more with his crew, I can see them taking the front running very quickly because of the careful development they've made.
So what we have next on our list actually is the Ivory Pirate, and which is why we can bring in Paris to represent the Ivory Pirates right here. Please talk about your crew.
Well, my crew is quite interesting. If
I wouldn't say I was that great at the start of things. I have improved. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, it all started in Syrup Village, if I remember correctly, and from
Mm-hmm.
there, I managed to pick up my first crewmate, and that was Shinzo.
I see.
And Shinzo has proven to be uh, quite skilled in combat and is basically my first mate. And from there, we basically took an interesting turn when go fighting on a marine ship
Mm-hmm.
because they decided to believe that since we were pirates that we were a threat, and I ended up going against a marine
I see.
captain.
So, what do you think your crew represents the most from the canon One Piece universe? Like, what crew would you say generally represents yours?
Um, I guess I could say Netflix adaptation Straw Hats.
That's funny. So, did you have a crew? Do you have a Dofru, I mean?
Well,
And
yeah, I have.
which Dofru is it?
Well, it's a custom devil fruit.
It's the ivory fruit.
What's the? I never heard of this. Huh?
It's a custom devil fruit. If you let me speak.
All right, please explain it.
Well, basically,
It's okay, Mew.
it
You'll
gives
get
the
your
ability
chance.
to produce and manipulate ivory,
I see.
and it leaves a lot of room for growth and potential in the use of combat and other
Now it's
means.
a Parasema, right? Parmesia, right?
Yeah, paramecia.
That's cool. So there's gonna be a whole lead of captains, but right now I wanna see what crew members think of their own captains. So right now I'm going to bring in Mew to talk about her captain Kazek.
All right.
Hello, Mew.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go, and we have her. So please talk about your captain and your crew for us. Like, what do you think? How do you think you're gonna make your crew succeed with all the support abilities you have? I mean, you're a pretty good support as is, but let's hear your side of the story.
Oh, I cook for them. I give them medicine. I heal them. And every time they get in trouble, they rely on me to get them out of it.
It's very good, very good. And what do you think of your captain Kazek? Do you think he's a good leader? Has he? I see that he carries you around sometime.
Yeah, he's a very strict guy, and he's very hard to move, but he knows what's best for her.
What can you say about how she obtained her Delph fruit powers? Like, what have you looked into the Delph fruit that your character uses?
I've looked into it, and she obtained it by stealing fruit off another pirate ship.
The Fishhook Pirates represent as a crew from the canon universe of One Piece. Here, honestly, I already said it represents kind of Shank's crew since some people don't have a Delph fruit in it, but let's hear from you.
First your uncle's crew.
I see. Now, since we've had representatives from the Fishhook crew and the Avery Pirates, let's hear a representative, or captain, in fact, from the Marine King Shadow Pirates. Come on down, Junebug. What do you think about your crew?
Alright, so to start off, we heard about how the Fishhook
Okay.
Pirates move.
Hold
Oh,
on before.
what do you need to
hold on
sell?
before you go, June.
What do you need to sell?
I just want to apologize if I got something wrong about your crew because I'm not very informed.
Oh boy.
Alright, so do you want to ask me a question about it, or do you want me to just...
No, I was just gonna put that up.
Alright,
Keep going.
you. So, we just heard from Fishhook. The Shadow Pirates will actually
Yep.
become the first Yonko.
That's cool.
Reason why? Junebug, which is my character, the
Yeah.
captain of the Junebug Pirates.
You realize that every captain is tier 2 so far, so you don't look too different, you know?
But his dream is to become a emperor, not the pirate king.
That's kind of
Does that make any sense to you?
That's kind of
Because
like
if your dream is to become an emperor, you're probably going to become an emperor faster than someone who doesn't want to become an emperor and actually wants to be a pirate king. I don't know if you understand.
I hope you. I hope. I hope you know that Luffy became a emperor, and he wants to become Pirate King. So that's kind of it's kind of dumb if you think about it.
Luffy didn't become a Yonko because technically Yonko means 4, and there's already 4 Yonkos, so he's not an actual.
All right, I think we're gonna have to pull out a smarter representative from Shadow Pirates. Let's see who we have here. Oh, Kitsune. Hey, Kitsune, can you talk? You're the first mate, right? Kitsune can talk about her crew, right?
She doesn't have.
Oh, I see. All right. I guess we're stuck with this idiot.
I feel like
I can talk about other people on my crew.
Right now
It's fine. All right.
Oh, Clover.
Okay, Junebug. Hold on.
Really...
Let me mute. Let me mute Distill real quick. All right. So Junebug, talk about what your crew represents from the canon One Piece universe.
Our crew is, I would say that it's the CP9 of pirates.
Really?
There's a lot of assassination, like behind in the shadows kind of work here, and
I see.
We have 4 potential members so far. We're very tactical and strategic, and our members are of course Junebug, Kitsune, Sage, and of course Dr. Charles.
You have a pretty good crew, and I'm not gonna lie, because like 2 of you have Conquerors Hacky. Like that's a pretty big step. Honestly, like
that is a pretty big step.
Finding someone.
A lot of very independent characters.
That's true. Sometimes that's a good thing,
Yeah.
Since Luffy's crew could actually act independently on their own as well for most of the time. I think you guys are gonna be pretty interesting to watch as well. Next to the Ivory and Fishhook pirates, like this is a pretty cool thing to watch. Honestly, it boggles my mind to see when you guys are gonna meet and all that. I just can't wait.
I feel as though that
even
when it comes to the Shadow Pirates, that there is the solid chance that they will surpass us.
Perhaps, yeah, because like they're pretty good. Ivory Pirates are just kind of the underdogs right now, is what I see.
The top 3 crews are still Ivory, Fishhook, and Shadow/Junebug Pirates. So
maybe
it's a race between them.
Yeah,
and we're likely gonna see that throughout all of the Grand Line.
Yeah.
Unless.
It's gonna be fun once and there's gonna be 3 paths throughout the Grand Line as well. Maybe like each one will take a different one, or each one will probably. Maybe they can have some kind of thing going on where, they all meet at Archipelago, the fucking bubble island, alright? Maybe we can have something like that,
But what we are seeing is...
that's gonna be fun to see them all.
3 different paths.
That's
and
true.
We're gonna have 3 different crews.
Exactly,
So
that's what I'm thinking.
Likely...
Let's not forget...
We're gonna see.
Yeah,
let's not... have to talk about it, but just to mention other crews besides these 3.
Yeah, I know. There's gonna be, and let's not forget, there's gonna be like a couple other like things mixed in there as well, which is really great.
Yeah,
Marines, like a bunch of independents.
Yeah, of course.
Marines, of course, like 2 regiments full of Marines. Let's switch over to the Marines. Distill, you are the main man for the Marines. All right, tell me all about them. Like, what's your regiment doing as of late?
The 106th Regiment. Let's get on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the 106th Regiment consists of me, Diso Crowley, Akiba D. Kiyumi, and Portamendo Crescendo.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of which are different in 3 different aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Diso Crowley acts as kind of like a leader figure for the 2, but he's not so much of a leader as he's developing alongside them. Akiba and Sendo are more so young adolescents who are growing up in the Marines and trying to find their own path of justice.
And
that is especially true with the Sagrian boot camp.
Ah, yes, the Sagrian boot camp. All sorts of events that go on there. That boot camp's been going on for such a long time. I've been hearing about it all over and over. What is really going on there? What type of training are they doing, Distill?
Well, with the boot camp, it's an annual thing at Sagrian, which is a custom island if you're new to
That's
Era
correct.
of Kings. But the thing with Sagarian boot camp is that it's not normal. It's the congregation of Marines at the East Blue. It's the pinnacle of training in the East Blue. Is how the concept goes.
Okay. It's pretty
And
good.
as the storyline goes, we have Hidenshi, Vulcan, Crasher, Diesel, Sekai Taro, Portamendo Crescendo, and Akiba all racing towards this one goal, which is to find their path of justice in this forest, the dilapidated woods.
Yes.
And the first half of the boot camp was a lot to do with running and just moving along and keep going and pushing forward.
Like we've saw in the actual anime, like they train those Marines tough. I saw what Garp was doing to them, like what was it, like a 50-mile run and like a bunch of weights. Like, man,
It was something similar.
like it was
And
hell.
this wasn't 50 miles, but it was definitely something.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw failure, we saw struggle, and we saw success in that first half of the boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
And that eventually led to the intermission. And now we are in the second half, which is currently unfolding.
Yes. All right. It's pretty good. What do you say about Crasher's regiment?
The 88th Regiment is probably more perspective than the 106th Regiment. While the 106th Regiment is comprised of Devil Fruit users, the 88th is comprised of melee users.
Potentially
Which
people that can
swords and glaives.
potentially people that will excel in either Rokushiki or Haki more likely than Devil Fruits, if you think about it.
Yes,
But-
we're seeing an
Yes.
interesting dynamic between swords, glaives, and Devil Fruit users between these two regiments, and it's likely we'll see competition between the two regiments in the future, especially in the Grand Line while we're after these three crews.
That's correct. So, moving on from them, Desil, who would you say your character follows after in the One Piece after? Like, who do you think he would represent, or what do you think he fights for, in a sense?
Well, that's hard to pinpoint because
I see.
Diesel's personal justice is
Well,
more so aligned with his own personal backstory.
I see. So he doesn't have the particular type of justice, such as unclear justice, lazy justice, or absolute justice.
His justice is paramount to his morals. It's not.
I see. All right. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring to the discussion before I move to the next topic?
Yeah, I feel like we should really talk about Vulcan and Hidenshi's characters a bit more.
Okay,
And
Hidenshi.
Crasher.
Hidenshi. What is your Marine all about? What is, in fact, yeah. What is your Marine about? What do you think he represents for Marines?
Well, I mean,
Despite him being in the midst of training, what do you think? What do you hope for him to be?
I don't know. Like, I hope to make him develop a little bit more and like emotionally, because right now all he really wants is like revenge, because his village got killed, like burned down by pirates, and like all his friends and family got killed and stuff. So like, hopefully, like eventually he'll find more like empathy and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
But right now he's
honestly, I don't see any more empathy. Like, if you really want to get some empathy, like, I saw so much emotion coming from that one time, Yano lost his commander. It was a really emotional time for him. And we could just see the emotion seething from him. Desil saw it firsthand in Tequila Wolf. If you would like to read an excerpt from that, Desil.
Let me find it real
course.
quick, and I'll read you an excerpt. But this is an emotional excerpt from Yano Shinto. Yano was shocked by what happened, and almost fell over as he saw a man sprint out of the bushes. He watched the man slow down the Marines, who attempted to cut him off, as Yano analyzed him. From his base observation, it was obvious he had a Devil Fruit. and from how his bow danced across the violin, he also could tell he used the violin to help channel his devil fruit better. However, Disa was on the hunt for the man as Yano tended to the commander. Yano quickly ran over to his commander, catching him down to his knees. "Commander!" Quickly helped the commander, rushing him to the ship as he was basically carrying him. He would rush the commander into the ship's doctor, getting his medical treatment as the commander would need to be treated as quickly as humanly possible. He was not going to let his commanding officer die on his watch.
Oh my god.
I'm not sure, was that comedy or was that tragedy?
It was both. It was a Shakespeare play at its finest. Anyway, moving on. Who we have next is actual individuals. See, obviously I'm not going to bring up my faction, which is the revolutionaries, because there's obviously not going on, and I can't speak for all of the revolutionaries at the moment. The only revolution.
You're the only revolutionary.
No, I'm not. There's a few others. I don't know where they are, but I haven't been following them. But
Chronic. We should talk about Sion since he's been around since.
oh yeah, Sion's been like at
January
Tequila.
2nd.
He's been trying to become a revolutionary since, man. He's been wanting to meet me, but I'm not there yet.
Junebug can speak for Sion since he's been GMing for him.
Okay, Junebug, tell us about Sion's adventure.
Alright, so Sion is someone I've been GMing for quite a while now, and what I've been GMing is his recruitment into the Revolution. The revolutionary base in the East Blue, which is the location of the server right now, is in Tequila Wolf. And in this location, you can see Sion there right now being recruited by the revolutionary leader of the East Blue named Kira, who is a female swordsman.
You know,
Is that on purpose from Death Note? Is that intentional?
You know what grinds my gears?
Intentional. It's a
You know-
female named Kira.
An interesting topic Kitsune has provided is who is the strongest character in this series?
I think it'd be unfair to say who's the strongest right now, since some people are smart, some people are strong. You know what?
Some people are all around.
Of course. So I don't think it would be fair to say who the strongest is, honestly.
I'm not
But
sure
I will say this. Sion has a very strong lead because of his fruit, the Super no Mi,
Oh yes, the Super no Mi, yeah.
which in his lack of character development has still allowed him to become one of the strongest.
Yeah. Because
And I feel
nobody can cut fucking steel right now, you know?
for the revolutionaries, the group will form slowly, but more so on the grand line.
Yeah.
And when that happens, we're going to see some very interesting development between these groups.
Yeah, for sure. And the only time his devil fruit has been overcome is by the pirate NPCs from the Grand Line who had used Sea Prism Stone to nullify it.
That's true. Yeah, things are gonna really pick up in Grand Line because we're gonna have so many more like fun locations like Alabasta, Impel Town. Like Impel Town's gonna be fun if anyone gets sent there by freaking Desil, if anyone else, you know. Are you gonna be sending people to Impel Town, Desil?
Oh, I'm a fucking bastard. I'm going to send everybody out.
Yeah.
I want to go to Impel Down.
You're not getting out of the prison, bitch.
Either. Like, it's gonna be so heavily guarded by freaking NPCs, man. You're not gonna believe it. There's gonna be
And another,
Yeah.
I'm hyped for Skypiea. I'm just going to say.
Yeah. Of course, like, we gotta make the other islands just as exciting. Like, we've included movie islands and non-canon islands into the map as well. We want it to be interesting, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna want to follow, like, the main Straw Hat path. You think? So...
I feel like a lot of people are, but then there's going to be a lot of people who aren't, because then again, it gets old just following that kind of template.
That's true.
Plus, you can't really do the same type of story in those areas, which...
So, for our next podcast, we're going to be start talking about islands, especially non-canon and our fan-made islands as well. Thank you for tuning in. Is there any goodbye messages anyone wants to say? We good?
As the owner of EOK, I'd like to say thank you to everybody.
Only one Naru.
All right, everyone.